Well, uncertainty continues to be the word for Canada's economy, and this theme could negatively impact economic performance. And according to Deloitte Canada's latest look on Canada's economy, well, it remains tepid. Don Desjardins is the chief economist at Deloitte Canada and joined us live this morning. Don, good to speak to you this morning. Uncertainty, that's a word that most markets don't like, a lot of people don't like. And, you know, you're talking about, it looks like Canada's going to avoid a technical recession. But, Don, the reality for a lot of people is they kind of feel like we might be in some kind of a recession. So can you explain how your numbers are providing maybe a little bit of potential hope?
Sure. You're right. It doesn't feel particularly good at the moment. But one of the things that we are seeing is that we do have those carve-outs for our exports going south of the border that allow most of our exports to go south tariff-free. So that is a good fundamental. We have lower interest rates, and we think we will see even another decline in terms of that policy rate. So again, providing some insulation against a more dramatic downturn in the economy.
Mm-hmm. So much of the uncertainty really seems to be coming out of the Trump administration and the sort of, like you mentioned, the sort of overall low tariffs. But when you look at auto, steel, aluminum in this country, you know, big employers that are being tariffed here, a lot of people sort of feel that and the sort of the ripple effects of that. CUSMA is going to be up for renegotiation. They're going to take a look at that again. How essential is it that CUSMA, free trade, whatever you want to call it, remains kind of as is? And do you have confidence that that will remain as is?
Well, it's very important for us to be able to have access to our largest trading partner. When we think about, you know, how much of our exports go south of the border, well, it's come down from its recent high, but nonetheless, still very reliant on the U.S. market. So having access at tariff-free is really very important. But as you say, there are certain segments that are really being damaged by high tariff levels. And that is having an impact. When we look at the labor data, for example, when we look at where jobs have been lost, it is in those sectors. Mm-hmm. So as we move forward, you know, we need to see some kind of resolution there if we're going to really be able to see a firming in labor market conditions. Having said that, the government is committed to, you know, buying Canadian steel. So if we see these types of developments, and if we can broaden our export markets, that too will certainly help those very impacted sectors.
Yeah, I wanted to pick up on that with you about broadening the export markets, because we've seen Prime Minister Mark Carney make, you know, a lot of trips to Europe in particular. Just coming back from this weekend, they're speaking to leaders from not just Europe, but also Australia and a couple of other countries as well. What do you make of that? And can Canada make up for what it may be, you know, losing, quote unquote, from the U.S. trade deals with, you know, trade deals, you know, with other parts of the world, whether it's Europe, whether it's Asia, et cetera?
Well, we do have, you know, I think it's 16 free trade agreements with other parts of the world. So certainly it is within the realm of possibility. I think one of the things that we're looking for and anticipating is that we're going to see money being put into infrastructure, because getting our goods to those markets quickly and cost effectively is also a very important part of that story.
Absolutely. You also look at the housing market in your outlook here, Don, and it's interesting. You're expecting a bit of a, you say, you know, a gradual recovery in the housing market. So much of, you know, the affordability crisis in this country seems to be housing, real estate, et cetera. How essential is that there be some sort of affordability easing in that, you know, everyone needs shelter?
Right, and that has been a pretty big factor for the Canadian economy for a sustained period of time. We've seen such erosion in affordability in some of the biggest cities in particular. And so to the extent that you're getting this combination of interest rates coming down, as well as some price correction, not massive, but nonetheless, price correction, that will improve the affordability somewhat. But it really is the supply side. You know, we need homes built so that we can alleviate some of this upward pressure on prices.
All right. Don Desjardins is the chief economist at Deloitte Canada. Appreciate this look at our economy and your snapshot here. Thanks for the time this morning.